In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about the latest with the Paycheck Protection Program and how you can get $20,000 for your small business. So this is not going to be spam or clickbait or anything like that. This is legit. I'm not sure if you've been hiding under a rock, but there's something called the Paycheck Protection Program. It's been referred to as PPP, and it's been revised. It was revised on March 3rd, and the application is now out on the SBA's website. And how it's different from what you may have heard of in the past is that we're now using gross income, so basically your sales, instead of the profit of your business to apply and qualify. So basically the amount you will get is a lot larger number. And how this is a bit different is this sort of new set of guidelines is specifically for those of you that are independent contractors or sole proprietors, right? So if you're a little bit confused by some of that language already, don't worry, I'm going to walk through it here with you. But basically, if you're an Uber driver, realtor, insurance agent, an independent contractor, or you just have a regular small business, so maybe you are a landscaper, or you sell stuff on eBay, or you have some kind of online retail sales, you're going to qualify for this program. So again, as I said, it's new. It's as of March 3rd, 2021 that they've updated this, and you're applying based on your gross income. Real quick, if it's your first time watching, my name is Navi Miraj. I'm a CPA who normally educates you and teaches you tax saving strategies, and I cater to real estate professionals. That's real estate agents and brokers, but all of my videos can be used for any type of business, really. So let's talk about what I spoke about in the beginning, right? You can get 20 grand. What is this? Just in case you've first time hearing about PPP, basically it's a program from the SBA facilitated by banks and other financial fintech companies such as like PayPal and stuff, not your traditional bank. So SBA came up with the program. It's facilitated by banks. You apply for a loan. The amount you apply for is a loan. But then after you receive the funds, you then apply again for loan forgiveness. So the amount you applied for is then hopefully forgiven, and it usually is. I don't have any clients where it has not been forgiven. And not only that, but you don't even have to pay income tax on the amount that you receive. So it's incredible, quite honestly. Here is sort of the guidelines though. You need to have been, I want to educate you on like how you would not qualify, so you don't watch this entire video, get excited, and then decide, and then realize you don't qualify. So the rules for qualifying are pretty simple. So you need to have been in business on February 15th, 2020 or before, all right? So during 2019 or the early part of 2020. And you cannot have your business permanently closed, right? You need to still be open, at least at this day, for business. So let me maybe define independent contractor and self-employed or sole proprietorship. What that really is that's if you work for a company, let's say Uber, or Keller Williams if you're a realtor, and you're not an employee of theirs, right? You do work for them, but it's really on your own time, right? So that's kind of like the independent contractor. You're not an employee, you probably don't have benefits, and so you get a 1099. In 2019, that was called a 1099 miscellaneous, MISC. In 2020, they changed the form a little bit. It's called a 1099 NEC. That stands for non-employee compensation. And so you get that as a tax form at the end of the year instead of a W-2 that you would get if you were an employee somewhere, right? So if you get one of those, you qualify. If you're not an independent contractor and you're just, like I said earlier, you are a regular small business, right? You either do business as John Doe, if your name is John Doe, that is. So, and you have a landscaping company, right? Or you do an online eBay business, or you sell your stuff on Poshmark or whatever like that. You qualify. You may have a single member LLC even. You might have formed an LLC, you might have an EIN number, but if you're a single member, then you're taxed as a sole proprietorship, and this is for you. Basically, if you complete Form Schedule C, and I have a copy of that here, I'll share with you in a second. If you complete this form when you file your taxes, either in 2019 or in 2020, you're going to qualify, or this is the program that you want to use, right? And so let's walk through the SBA application, which now it's just one page, guys. It's super simple to complete. I will put a link in the description below on where you can download this, right? But this is the basic SBA application. You're going to apply not through the SBA directly, but through a bank, right? And so the bank's probably going to add some more questions to this to make sure that you're in the right program. But this is, you can expect to at least deliver this. So I don't want to walk through this step by step, but like I said, it's a one pager. The thing that might confuse you the most is probably the very first question. Check one. Are you a sole proprietor, independent contractor, or a self-employed individual? Quite honestly, I don't think it matters. What I mean by that is, like, regardless of which box you check, the point is you are a Schedule C filer, okay? I'll just cover the tricky parts of this application. So a tricky part might be, okay, well, my business legal name. Well, if I don't have an LLC, or I choose to operate as my legal name, John Doe in that example I used earlier, then you're just going to write John Doe there, right? Don't freak out if you don't have an actual business formed. The NAICS code, I call that a NAICS code. That's basically your industry code. So if you're a realtor, you're going to select the realtor industry code. If you are an accountant, you're going to select the accounting industry code. That's basic stuff. You can't have more than 500 employees. So if you're watching this video and you have more than 500 employees, I'd be surprised, but that's what they're calling a small business. Can you believe it? If you got less than 500 employees, you're a small business. Business TIN, that stands for tax ID number, TIN. That might be a little bit confusing to some of you out there. So if you applied for an LLC and you also applied for an EIN number, then you'd put your LLC's EIN number there. But if you didn't form an LLC or anything like that and you're just, again, operating as John Doe, then you just put your social there, your social security number. Business phone number, email, primary contact. What is the tax year that you're going to use for this? So you can use, basically, I hope I don't get proved wrong by this, but the higher of your 2019 income or your 2020 income. Whichever one was higher, use that number because you're going to get more money. And then let's walk through the math on like a situation where you don't have any employees and you're applying for this. So you're going to use the gross income number of your business. And so they define that in the instructions. It couldn't be simpler. It says basically to go to your Schedule C, look at line 7, use that number. You'll notice that that number is a gross income number. In the old program, before this got revised on March 3rd of this year, you were using line 31, the profit, which is after after you deducted all of your expenses. Well, now they're like, hey, guess what? You get to sort of, don't worry about those expenses. Come up here and use the gross income number. Let me define that a little bit for you because that could be a little bit confusing. Let's say that you had revenue in your business of $48,000, okay? What you're gonna do is, let's say this is line 7 of your Schedule C. You're gonna take this number, you're gonna divide it by 12, right? For the 12 months, basically. And so the number you get from this is gonna be $4,000, right? $48,000 divided by 12 months is $4,000. And then you're gonna take this $4,000 and multiply it by 2.5. And I believe the way the math's gonna work out on that is, for your PPP loan application, you're gonna apply for $10,000. Like I said, don't be fooled by the word loan here. And I know this sounds a little bit ridiculous. Prior to COVID, I've never heard of a program ever before like this. I used to work in the bank. I was a banker for over 10 years. Trust me, you'll never qualify for a loan this easily ever again, if I dare say that. So in this instance, you're gonna, based on a $48,000 revenue business, you qualify for $10,000. You'll apply for a loan. You'll hopefully get approved. There's no reason not to be if you follow the guidelines. And then later, after you receive those funds, you'll apply for forgiveness and the bank will say, okay, yep, you're still in business after this time. Show me your bank statements or whatever. Okay, you're still operating. All right, we're gonna forgive this loan. Not only do you not have to pay the loan back, but in addition this is not considered income to you. So you don't even have to pay income tax on this number, all right? So you might be like, hey, Navi's kind of upbeat here. Why is he so excited? Well, applying on the gross income number is way different than applying with the net profit number as it was before. So let's use an example where, you had $48,000, right? Same amount of revenue, but prior to applying as of, the revisions of this program, and you would have had to said, okay, well, Navi, I had $36,000 in business expenses. I work with a great accountant. He told me that I need to be deducting my advertising, home office, mileage, hiring my children, all these strategies that I talk about on my channel. And so I got, $12,000 in profit. And so when I then go do this math, right, I divide this by 12, now I'm at $1,000. I multiply that by 2.5. I'm at, I think it's 2,500. Don't make fun of me if my math is wrong. I'm just doing this on the fly. Before, I know that looks like garbage, right? But before, you would only get about 2,500. Now you're getting 10 G's, right? $10,000. That's a big difference between a few days on how the program works. So let me just take a moment and say real quick, if some of this is confusing you, this language about PPP and hiring your children, what the heck is that? Hey, I'm not a Schedule C filer, I'm an S Corp and all that stuff. That's normally what I do on my channel, right? I educate you about legal entity structures and the tax implications of them. I teach you these different tax strategies. So please subscribe if you're getting value out of this video. So a couple things that I'll note. The program is not new, right? PPP has been around for a little while now. It was going to expire sometime in 2020. Then they pushed the date a little bit further. Now it's March 31st as of the recorded time of this video that is recording. It's March 31st. But then they just revised the program March 3rd, right? And so I mentioned earlier that your banks and your financial tech companies, they're the ones facilitating this program. So they've got to get, their software engineers to go online, edit the software that you're going to use to apply for this online. Typically, you're going to apply for this online, not in person. But try your credit union or your smaller bank. A lot of my clients have had better luck with a smaller bank facilitating these programs. But my point is, the banks are trying to catch up, right? The government releases the guidelines, then the banks have to go change the application. And that's, these banks are huge corporations. It's not easy for them to just do that overnight. So be patient. I suspect that because this just got revised on March 3rd and the program ends March 31st, that they're going to push that PPP deadline once again, but that's just an educated guess. So don't wait, don't be lazy, get this stuff done now. To apply, you're gonna need your Schedule C already completed, whether that's for 2019 or 2020. My understanding is it does not have to be filed with the IRS, but it needs to be prepared. So get that prepared and ready for when the application is available for you. I think that's it, guys. Again, this was a program where, if you make $100,000 in revenue, I think you can get $20,833. You can then have that forgiven and not have to pay income tax on it, right? It's huge. It's a big deal. I do encourage you to apply for it. And if you have any questions, put them in the description. I'm gonna link the application and the Schedule C down below so you can kind of see what I was referencing. I'm sure it's kind of small on the video. So with that said, do subscribe and I'll catch you in the next video.